Hello students, Mr. Sims presents 7th grade final exam review sheet. Alright, so we have our final exam coming up next week, and this is essentially what's on it. If you want to know, out of everything that we've selected all year long, or everything that we've done all year long, we went through and picked some topics that are the most important topics moving forward in math, and that's what we're going to assess you on. So this would be the answer key that you would go through and make your corrections from your review sheet. So starting with number 1, which expression is equivalent to -5. All right, so this is the Santa hat method where we're going to go ahead and we're going to distribute. And remember what happens when you distribute a negative. A negative times a negative is a positive 15x. Careful here. This is where you're going to get, this is where it's going to go bad. A -5 times a positive 2 is a -10. The answer is A. Number 2. Which expression is equal to 24x minus 6? Well, here's something that you could do. We could go through and undistribute. Really, this is the opposite of this problem here. But when you start looking at your choices, let's just go through and work forwards. A strategy of let's figure out which one it is. So if I distribute here, I'm going to end up with -12x in the front. That's not that one. Okay, when I distribute here, I'm going to end up with a 12x in the front. Notice I'm not even finishing it because I know right away it's not correct. Okay, D, here I'm going to get 24x. But now when I distribute here, I'm going to end up with -12x. All right, so then clearly the answer is D. So 12 times 2x is 24x, and 12 times a half is 6. All right, number 3. The store is having a back-to-school sale. All computers are advertised. Okay, what's the sale price? Well, it's 30% off. So we'll go back to our old percent days where we take 30% of the 2100, which is, save a little math, $630. You then are going to subtract the 630 away to get 1470. The answer is D. Remember how to do this. We cross multiply and divide. All right, there's also another way to do it where if you took the 30% off, you could use 70%. I know some of you did that back in when we did this problems before. All right, there's only 10 multiple choice questions here. So number 4, move this up. All right, this is kind of a misleading problem. So Edward can spend up to $11. Which inequality shows the number of pieces of fruit that Edward can buy? So let's start with what he has. He has $11. Okay. He has $11, and he buys a sandwich and a cup of soup for $6.25. So I take off the $6.25, leaves me with $4.75. I then divide that by the 79 cents per cup. Without a calculator, you get 6.01. So the inequality actually meshes up to this is this one here, because it has to be less than 7. So anything less than 7 is good. Here it has to be less than 6, which means that 6 would not be included. So that's why it could potentially be a little misleading. All right, moving on. Number 5. Okay. How many cups of flour does it need per scone? Okay, so we need flour over scones because we need that per 1. All right, so we start here. It's really that y over x constant proportionality that we did. And where you're going to mess this up is, I think your choices, you're either going to answer A or you're going to answer D. So obviously if you're watching this, you probably answered D, right? But it's really the other way around. It's 7 over 28 because it's cups of flour per scone. And you're not going to use 4 cups of flour for 1 scone. Okay, it's really 1/4 of a cup of water per scone. Right. Number 6, Ben reads 135 pages. Proportional. Same rate. All right, so we find the unit rate. Take 135, divide it by 3, we get 45 pages per hour. And then we just got to figure out which one is also the same. So 45 pages in 2 hours wouldn't be right. Okay, I know that right away. So if I take 120 and divide it by 4, I get 30 pages an hour, so it's not that one. If I take 100 and divide it by 5, I get 20 pages per hour. But if I take 315 and I divide it by 7, 45. This is a really easy problem when you got a calculator. All right. Number 7. Careful on this one. You're subtracting. Remember what happens when you subtract. You're subtracting a -4x, which becomes a plus 4x. Then you're subtracting a -2. And when you subtract a -2, it becomes a plus 2. So then you can line them up. And we get, 4x plus 2. So then 9x plus 4x is 13x. If I borrow $7, but I only pay back $2, I still owe $5. So I get choice B. A couple more here. Number 8. Okay, solve for x. Okay, shouldn't really be surprised. The standard two-step equation, 47.8. So then we get 0.3x equals, and we got to do a little math here. Calculator makes this a lot easier. So 82.75 minus 7.8. All right, and we get 34.95, and now I divide by 0.3, and I get 116.5, which is choice B. All right, 2 more. Number 9, of course we were going to put in a percent of increase or decrease problem. So what is the percent of decrease? Well, how much did it decrease? We went from 250 to 225. So we need to subtract them to determine how much it decreased. So it went down 25. Remember, it's change over original. Okay, so it'll be 25 over the 250 equals x over 100. Cross multiply, divide, and you get a change of 10%. Right now, if you fall into the trap and you put 225 over 250, you're going to get D, and you're going to pick the wrong answer, but you found the wrong part. You didn't find how much it decreased. All right, and then number 10. Of course, we spent a lot of time on this at the beginning part of the year of how to write an equation for proportional relationship. And the key comes down to P represents cost, okay, N represents number of apples. Well, it really comes down to finding the unit rate. So if you take $4.64 for 8 apples, you get 58 cents per apple. And if you start looking at your choices, the only one that makes sense is A. All right. So after you've made your corrections, you can then put your Chromebook away, and then from here you can just continue working on the rest of it, and there will be a second video that goes over the open response problem. So for recorded lessons, this is Mr. Sims signing off.